Hey everyone, welcome to Bill's Mathia. For this episode, I want to take a look at the idea of overarching defensive adjustments in the Sean McDermott era. And to do that, we're going to have a couple of screen grabs from ProFootballReference.com. If you're a fan of my work, definitely check them out, as they have plenty of data for all your nerd needs. For this week, I want to focus on this column here, which is the number of points dropped on the Buffalo Bills by their opponents. Now, this list of games may start looking familiar, as week one was against the Jets, but you'll quickly notice in week two, Carolina Panthers is not somebody the Buffalo Bills have faced this year. This is the 2017 season, the first year under Sean McDermott, with Leslie Frazier as the defensive coordinator. And you'll see some up and downs here. For the first few weeks, especially for a rookie regime, this is an incredible set of performances. 12 points, 9 points, really, except for the Bengals, barely allowing even close to NFL average. And you see after the bye week, they have a couple of okay games. Tampa Bay is a first sign of trouble, and we have a stretch where the Buffalo Bills are really just getting blown out of the water, including to the Jets, who they allowed almost triple the amount of points from their prior meeting. So what happened? Well, you may recall that during the bye week, defensive stalwart Marcel Darius was traded. Now, you wouldn't think one player could create such a ripple, but when that player is really the heart and soul, or at least the most dominant player on the defensive line, that ripple can create huge ramifications. Now, what happened later in the season, as overall, except for that Patriots game lurking towards the bottom, the Buffalo Bills corrected in big time fashion, really keeping people low scores. So what happened during that season, certainly go back in the Buffalo Rumblings archives. I did an analysis piece showing that really from this stretch of games, the Buffalo Bills really transitioned to their nickel defense, which is one of the things they're famous for now. And to me, what this shows is evidence that when you have a change or something that needs to force the hand of Sean McDermott and his coaching staff, they're willing to do that. And it's displayed very easily with these groupings of points. Now then, is anything like that happening to the Buffalo Bills this season? Well, I would say so. Right here, what you're looking at is the starting lineups for the defense between week 1 and week 15. Now, there are a lot of common names. Most of these players really are the same. To make things easier, let's take a look at things in this fashion. Tre'Davious White out, Micah Hyde out, Matt Milano out, Daquan Jones out. 4 huge players at essentially really 4 different major zones of the defense, replaced by Rasul Douglas, late addition, quick pop-in signing, definitely a veteran player, but adjusting the playbook quickly. Taylor Rapp, who's not a household name. Tyrell Dodson, who's had definitely an up and down career with Buffalo. And Jordan Phillips, who definitely the same could be said. So how have the Buffalo Bills responded in the 2023 season to some major ripples like the Marcel Darius one? Well, let's take a look. Starting off the season, the Buffalo Bills looked fantastic. They're shutting down pretty much everybody except for the Jets, and that even took overtime to really get to even about league average points. We see maybe a little bit of shakiness going on there. And then this is really the area where I want to focus on, where a lot of those ripples really start impacting the Buffalo Bills. The New England Patriots putting up 29 points, I think most of us agree, probably should not have happened to this Buffalo Bills team. And making matters worse is the allowance of that game-winning drive. Now, the Buccaneers was a little bit of a bounce-back game. Wonderful. With the Cincinnati Bengals, the Buffalo Bills allowed them to take the lead, got within striking distance, could have gotten a stop in the ball back, maybe taken the game over. What happened? The defense just folded, allowed the Bengals to run timeout. With the Denver Broncos, you have a similar situation. They could have stopped it. They had time, but they allowed a game-winning field goal. Again, we have kind of a bounce-back game in there. Outliers are certainly acceptable, even within different phases. And then with the Eagles, they had really a double whammy where they allowed a game-tying score towards the end of the game that they had plenty of time and opportunity to prevent. And then in overtime, they allowed the game-winning touchdown, letting the Eagles really just drive down the field. Now, are we in the middle of that nickel defense 2017 bounce back that led to a really dominant finish, culminating in holding the Jacksonville Jaguars to a pittance of points in the playoffs? Man, I hope so. These, to me, look like signature defensive efforts. The Kansas City team, for sure, you have similarities between the Bengals, Broncos, and Eagles performances and the New England one, where you have a close game, and at the end of the day, you have this drive you have to stop. And what happened? Blame Kadarius Toney all you want. Kansas City had 3 more opportunities to gain those yards. The Bills stopped them. They shut them down cold. Signature stop at the end of the game. And then even more impressive, arguably the best defense in the league, the Dallas Cowboys. Buffalo just shut them down completely. That's a score that's not even as far apart as the actual game was, with one of those touchdowns being a garbage score, really, against a lot of the backups who, admittedly probably weren't all that enthusiastic or worried about, making a stop. The game was pretty much already in hand. So keep an eye out. These next few games are certainly going to be huge for the Buffalo Bills. But track record from 2017, and I could certainly dive into other years, shows that Sean McDermott, definitely some flaws, not a perfect coach by any means. I'm not trying to make that argument, but he's willing to be flexible. He's willing to make adjustments. And when he does make adjustments, he does have a track record of ultimately being fairly successful. With that said, that's all for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and again, shout out to profootballreference.com for those screen grabs and a ton your data needs. Don't forget to check them out. See you next time.